Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Restardo. I don't know how to make that intro, but we got a fresh video for you today. It's actually trying to think of stuff that makes no sense. I think if you guys remember last couple of episodes before, or couple of YouTube videos back, I did glitch in the Matrix, and I did kind of get a lot of views about it. So I decided to make a segment where stuff that makes no sense, right? Because it kind of makes no sense when you're stuck in a glitch matrix. So I decided to go on and video rant and just like look for the best videos that doesn't make any sense and just kind of commentate over and see what's it about, and if that thing actually does make sense or it does not make sense. For me, the vote, it's to make the vote. So yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into it and see what is this video about. It says Home Alone literally makes no sense. I've seen the first one and the second one. I think they were pretty good.
Classic Christmas movies. You probably think of like A Christmas Story or The Santa Claus, or you got like the first Die Hard movie if you're one of those people. But I think the Christmas movie that really defined my generation, at least, was Home Alone. And just like I do for a lot of movies or TV shows here on my channel, I thought I would take a look back now that I'm a little older, and I see things a little bit different, and just see how it holds up. So I did, and there was one thing that really struck me about Home Alone after I finished it. This movie makes absolutely zero sense. Take a seat. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So the movie starts out with the McAllister family preparing for their big trip to Paris the next morning. Tensions are high, everyone's on edge, scrambling to get everything ready, and in the middle of all of this, we meet Kevin.
Mom, Uncle Frank won't let me watch the movie, but the big kids can. He's just being a jerk.
Kevin, if Uncle Frank says no, then
It must be really bad. Yeah, I do remember that. It was pretty freaking hilarious. Yeah, good memories, good times, good times. Yeah, I think the worst part is like when you grow up and you think of it, like how is that kid keeps running and getting away from two criminals? They must be like not only the stupidest criminals in the world, like how is it possible? Like I don't know. I'm not saying but a kid by himself, two adults, he really doesn't stand a chance unless he has like a gun in the house, which like happened with that incident in Alabama of somebody broken into a house and they actually shot him, which is kind of weird. Don't want kids doing that. It's just the idea of it is it's kind of, when you think of it when you're growing up right now, it's kind of stupid, but whatever. Keep watching.
Hey, get off. Kevin, out of the room.
Hang up the phone and make me, why don't you?
There's nothing more 90s than having like the main character kid be like super obnoxious to everyone, I don't know what it was, but 90s kids all had this like attitude, like what was that? Like every commercial was like, your parents are so dumb, right kids? Radical. Anyway, we find out pretty quick that literally no one likes Kevin at all, for pretty obvious reasons, to be fair. But then we meet Buzz.
Oh, Buzz! Yes. Kind of like the troublemaker of his time.
Don't you know how to knock phlegm wad?
I feel like every family has at least one Buzz, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like the worst kid with the ugliest face. Like, where do these kids even come from? Anyway, Buzz over here.
Genetic mutilation. No, it's true. There's always that one part of the family that's really not that great. I mean, it's true. Can't say anything about it, dude. That's literally what it is. Like, I can't think of anything else really to say over this, but I mean, it is what it is.
Here starts telling Kevin about their neighbor, Old Man Marley.
He walks up and down the streets every night, salting the sidewalks. See that garbage can full of salt? That's where he keeps his victims. The salt turns the bodies into mummies.
Well, that's true. Mummies are mummified by salt.
Remember when you were a kid and everyone just made up like the dumbest stories? If your Tootsie Pop wrapper has a Native American with a star on it, you get a free Tootsie Pop. Why does like every kid know this rumor, even though no one ever got a free Tootsie Pop? Anyway, so the pizza comes, and as
I
usual,
never knew
Kevin's
that.
left out of the party.
The kind of traveler's checks that don't work in France.
Did anyone order me a plain cheese?
Oh yeah, we did. But if you want any, somebody's gonna have to barf it all up, because it's gone.
Gross.
So this scene actually just kind of goes on for a while, and like if you go back and watch it yourself, you'll see what I'm talking about. But like, you know, sure, Kevin's annoying or whatever, like, yeah. But like, let's be honest, okay? Because this whole entire family is unbearable. Every kid is Sid from Toy Story, and every adult is like that one coworker in your office who you're always just like 2 seconds away from slapping across the face. Anyway, so Kevin gets mad and pushes Buzz, which makes him...
I'm not gonna say anything, but there is those kind of families who are kind of depicted by that. So, I mean, you say, oh, well, not all the people are the same thing and yada yada. But I'm just saying, there is that whole family, like the whole family, literally, that's so annoying and obnoxious. And they work together like a team. But I'm just like telling you my point because I've seen some families that are like that. So, say it's not, it's kind of weird, but... It is what it is, so we'll complete the video.
Spill the milk, and then the dad spills the Pepsi, and then it's all just pandemonium.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Nobody would say that. I've never seen anybody say that.
Finally, Kevin's mom has had enough, and she takes him upstairs to the dungeon. And here's where Kevin foreshadows like the whole rest of the movie.
Everyone in this family hates me.
Then maybe you should ask Santa for a new family.
I don't want a new family. I don't want any family. Families suck.
Just stay up there. I don't want to see you again for the rest of the night.
I don't want to see you again for the rest of my whole life. And I don't want to see anybody else either.
So that night is a Christmas miracle. A storm blows in, a tree falls over, and knocks out all the phone and power lines. Now this, of course, turns all the clocks and phones off, and the whole family sleeps in.
Peter! We slept in!
But thanks to the magic of Hollywood, they all make it just in time. Not everyone, of course, because turns out they forgot one little thing.
Him, obviously. He's like,
You know,
where's
I never noticed this before,
everybody?
but like Kevin's I Just Woke Up hair is basically every male J-pop group ever. Anyway, so Kevin kind of wanders around his house looking for his family. But more importantly, you know, I gotta say, what is it with the 90s and everyone having just the biggest houses? Okay, you got Home Alone, Full House, probably a bunch of others I can't even think of right now, but like every family, no matter what they did for a living, they all lived in these like 10,000 square foot mansions. You know, maybe the 90s really were a magical time. Anyway, so this is where Kevin realizes
that's true. Like, no families nowadays have like these big ass middle houses because not everybody can afford it, and most kids like nowadays who are like grown up back in the 90s now have moved out, and like families are like just couples probably moved into apartments or something like that, smaller, to just kind of save up money. This is literally like, that's why there's so many houses on the market. It's just because it's saturated with houses. Nobody wants that anymore because it's like the real estate and the society and the time that we're in right now, it's really hard. So yeah, I mean, that is pretty true, and it's pretty horrible.
Helpless. No, Kevin, you're what the French call les incompetents.
Kevin, I'm going to feed you to my tarantula.
Kevin, you are such a disease.
I made my family disappear.
So then we do a
Oh
montage of Kevin
god,
doing all the stuff his
that
family
is
wouldn't
so
let him before,
cheesy.
like eating as much ice cream as he wants, or you know, like riding his sled down the stairs and somehow going straight out the front door, even though, like, I mean, how does that even work? But you know, this
Yeah,
is the part
that's
of the movie
impossible.
that every kid loved. Just this idea, you know, where it's like you're home by yourself, no parents, no stupid older brother, older sister, or whatever. You can just do whatever you want. Which,
That's
thinking about
true.
now, kind of makes me laugh because, like, if I had the whole house to myself now, I mean,
I'd be
probably just take a
scared.
nap, let's be real here. But anyway, earlier in the movie, there was a police officer going from house to house checking.
Yeah,
out
I mean,
people in
having
the
a
home.
house.
Turns out
Let's
he
just
was
hold
actually
it.
a house.
To be honest with you, to have a, like, if you're a kid and you have like a whole house to yourself, you're obviously gonna be scared when night hits, because like you're like, oh, what do I do now? I did everything that I could have think, and I'm scared. Yada yada. From my perspective, I would have been afraid, because like, who would stay by their house?
Scoping out the place. That night, he and his buddy try to break in, but Kevin turns on the lights and scares them away.
I thought you said they were gone.
We're supposed to leave this morning.
Let's get out of here.
Now, fearing they might come back, Kevin rigs up the most complex animatronic setup this side of Disney World, okay? Like, this was something else with, like, 80s and 90s kids movies, you know? Because, like, somehow every kid was just a genius of mechanical engineering. Kevin's, like, what, 8? And somehow he not only thought all this stuff up, but dragged all these mannequins around the house and hooked everything together.
Yeah.
Like, what if the burglars didn't even come back and he was just dancing around with mannequins all by himself like some kind of weirdo? But, as luck would have it, it ends up working and scares the burglars away. But, like, to be fair, I think that has more to do with the fact that no one wants to set foot in a house with that many mannequins in it. Because, I mean, hello? Like, what kind of house you living in, Kevin? Now, after all of this, Kevin orders some pizza. But just like one scene earlier, you know, Kevin's dad is trying to call his neighbors to go check on Kevin, but he can't get a hold of anyone because remember, back at the beginning of the movie, all the phone lines were cut by the tree. So how did Kevin order the pizza? Now, I'm sure I'm not the first person to bring this up, but the whole point of the movie is that Kevin's family can't call him because the phones don't work. And like, okay, so he orders pizza by phone, which is the only way that makes sense because this is the 90s after all. So he must have spoken to someone at the pizza place, right? Why does he go through all the trouble of using the VHS tape to talk to the pizza guy? He still pays the money anyway, so like, why is this even happening? This whole scene makes no sense whatsoever. Anyway, so the two burglars stake out all night to see what's going on, since they were so sure before that the house is supposed to be empty. Now, the next morning, they realize that Kevin is home alone. Oh, I get it now.
Hey, look, that house is the only reason we started working this block in the first place. Ever since I laid eyes on that house, I wanted it. So let's take it one step at a time, okay? We'll unload the van, we'll get a bite to eat, we'll come back about 9 o'clock.
You know, the first rule of being a house burglar is to loudly shout your plans to each other in public in the middle of the day, okay? I mean, come on, everyone knows that. So that night, Kevin goes to the local church,
that's so
where
not
he runs
true.
into old man Marley. Oh no, Kevin, run! He's coming for you! Actually, he just wants to talk about family and stuff.
Came to hear my granddaughter sing. And I can't come and hear her tonight. I'm not welcome.
At church?
I'm not welcome with my son. Years back, before you and your family moved on the block, I had an argument with my son.
I told him he could only wear his weird dog costume on weekends, and he was like, "It's my persona, Dad, you don't understand."
You can get beat up for wearing something like that. Yeah, I have a friend who got nailed because there was a rumor he wore dinosaur pajamas.
See, right? That's what I said. And then I threatened to take away all his Sailor Moon toys and, well, you know.
Sailor Moon
so
too.
they become best friends and Kevin goes home, which, by the way, he apparently just left the door completely unlocked, even though he knows two burglars are coming that night. So, like, what are you doing, Kevin? And that's when everything
Goes down.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
Now, this penultimate part of the movie, pretty much everyone knows, right? Kevin sets up this Rube Goldberg machine of the most elaborate, life-threatening booby traps you can imagine. Like, seriously, this is all cute and fun because it's a movie, but like any one of these would probably kill a person.
Yeah, that is like so true. It could literally kill anyone. Yeah, because I mean, it's a funny thing, but if you think of it, like the fire right now, it's impossible. It's impossible. It would literally kill someone. I mean, maybe just falling.
And like at the very end of
from one of those
this,
toys.
Kevin finally calls the cops, which, I mean, like, why now? Okay, like, you know how to hook up a lever pulley system for a flamethrower, but calling the fuzz never crossed your mind till now, Kevin? But then comes my favorite part of the movie, the zip line of time travel. Because, like, Kevin jumps on, right? And then suddenly he transforms into, like, a 40-year-old man for, like, 5 seconds. Yeah, I got a lot of questions for this movie, okay? So finally, the cops show up and catch the wet bandits, who are somehow still alive after all this, and everything turns out fine. Then it's Christmas morning, and Kevin gets the greatest present of all.
Merry Christmas, sweetheart.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Shut up. But like, listen, because you know that Kevin's gonna hold this over his mom's head for the rest of her life. Kevin, did you max out all my credit cards just so you could buy this weird dog costume? It's my persona, Mom. You'd know that if you weren't so busy flying to Paris and leaving an 8-year-old kid home alone on Christmas. You know, I gotta say, Home Alone is not a bad movie per se. I mean, it's just your typical 80s, 90s kids adventure movie where adults are all bumbling idiots and kids all have PhDs in civil engineering, you know? And like, I know I'm just kind of repeating myself here, but really, nothing in this movie makes any sense. Like, not even a little bit. Home Alone exists as a sort of time capsule of how, like, in the 90s, you have so many of these classic, beloved movies, you know, and most of them are just bizarrely nonsensical. I think the only way that anyone could really enjoy this movie at this point is if you have nostalgia for it already. Because, like, I'm sure if you show this movie to a kid nowadays, they'd be like, what the heck is this old garbage? And you know what? They'd be right. But thanks for watching. So this concludes.
So yeah, guys. Technically, the movie actually, yeah, it does not make sense in many categories. I mean, just thinking of it, a kid by himself, like, how can you forget your, like, family or something like that? They forget their own kid. Like, that's one of the most, like, oh, I forgot to check my 5th kid in. I was like, okay, whatever, right? So he stays at home, and then he gets, like, robbed, and then, not, like, robbed, but, like, these people trying to rob the house. But then it turns out, like, he was able to order pizza. I'm like, he couldn't call the cops? Okay, well, okay, he was 8 years old. But he got all these, like, crazy ideas of torturing these people. But he couldn't call the cops? Like, but how did he order the pizza? Anyway, the movie does not make any sense. And I agree totally with the guy. I agree with it. But it was a 90s movie, and they had to spin off something for the kids, and everybody loved it back in then. I hope you guys like this video, share, and subscribe. It was a really nice video. I really liked it. I mean, Home Alone was like one of my favorite movies back then. But yeah, not saying I'll probably be doing more of this segment. I kind of like it. Makes no sense. Yeah. This one, actually, Saib, what do you say? This video makes no sense, right? Okay, man. That's it. Alright, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Deuces.